So when you see a trade setup you like, take that trade setup and let it develop. And if it's a loss, just move on to the next one. There's 100 more trades in this series that you're going to take. Half the battle is just not looking at the charts. So I got some good feedback on the first Q&A. I thought I'd follow up and do a Q&A number 2. I shot out a poll on Instagram and had you guys ask me a couple questions, and I chose the top 6 that I thought were going to provide the most value to you guys. So without further ado, let's begin. Question number 1, best trade ever. Now I remember from the last Q&A we covered the worst trade that I did, and that was on NAS 100. I'll never forget it. I would say my best trade ever was when I was on vacation right before 2023. I was in Alberta visiting my partner's family, and I remember I had taken a short on US dollar Japanese yen, man, right before CPI news came out, and it just played right in my favor. I'll never forget. I think the risk to reward was like 1 to 20 or 1 to 25. I'll pop it up on the screen for you guys just to recap. Yeah, no, I remember I woke up into some crazy profits, and I had taken the short maybe like Asia session the day before, and I just held the whole day while we were out doing things. And this will happen sometimes when you guys are traveling. You'll notice that like your trading becomes better because you're so distracted by what's going on outside, right? I remember I took the trade during Asia session and I just left it break even for the day, went out, did my thing. We were doing some tourist stuff, going in the mountains in Alberta. And I remember I went to bed that night after London session, woke up in the morning, CPI news was just melting. And it just missed my stop by like maybe 2 pips. If you guys take a look at the screenshot, you'll see what I'm saying. It was absolutely bonkers, man. I was surprised that I was still in the trade, but it was one of those where you just tap yourself on the shoulder and you thank the man upstairs that you didn't get stopped out. I'll never forget that UJ trade, man. That was crazy during CPI. Haters will say it's fake. It's all good. I know what happened. I was there. Luck was on my side that day. But yeah, besides that, you know, I've hit a couple home run trades on like EU a couple times, but nah, like this one was like 1 to 20, 1 to 30. The type of things you see the lower time frame SMC traders always advertise online, right? The unrealistic risk to rewards. Like they'll happen once in a blue moon, even if you're trading on the higher time frames. So if you're just actively in the market week by week, you'll notice that sometimes trades will play out in your favor and the reward is huge sometimes. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite trade ever. So question number 2. How do you make your schedule work around trading? This is a good question. It took me a while to figure out the schedule for my trading just because there's so many different ways that you can trade, right? I would say that I started off day trading and scalping. So I would take like session to session volume and try to find entries within New York session or within Asia session on like the 5-minute or the 1-minute, right? I would have some good weeks, I would have some good days, but just my psychology was off. I didn't have the consistency that suit my personality or my schedule, right? So trading session to session, lower time frame, day trading and scalping, it requires you to not miss the optimal trade entries within that session. And I found that with my schedule, getting the kids ready for school before New York session, you know, having to make dinner for everybody like after work during Asia session, it just didn't make sense for me to be, you know, trading those lower time frames and having to lock in on the screen. So to make it work around my trading, I decided to switch to more of like a swing style approach. And it kind of fit my personality better. With swing trading, you have longer hold times and you can trade multiple pairs, right? So typically swing traders have bigger watch lists because they trade higher time frame setups that don't happen often, okay? So I found most consistency switching to this swing approach, trading off like the 1 hour, 4 hour for my entries. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about news events or are missing out on optimal trade setups because you have so many pairs to look at. So switching to this approach helped me kind of get rid of my FOMO. It helped me, work around my schedule a little bit. I just found more consistency with this approach. So luckily, I work for myself and I set my own hours. So I was able to adjust my work schedule to fit how my trading was, okay? Typically, I work 4 days a week. I'm big on the 4-day work week. I feel like there's more productivity when you have 3 days to yourself. For those who don't know, who haven't watched my other videos, I do cut hair for a living. I'm a barber. I have a little setup in my basement. I kind of work my own hours. So typically I start work when the market is dead. So that 12 p.m. noon time, Eastern Standard Time, until like 7 p.m., that's when the market's kind of like ranging, kind of choppy. That's the post-New York volume going into Asia session. That's when I set my schedule to work my hours, okay? So the way it works is I'll do my analysis, once in the morning for New York. Again, on the higher time frames, I'll take a look at what's going on. If I see a setup or two, I'll set limits or I'll enter the market as is. And then I'll do a second analysis at the end of the day during Asia to see how the things developed and if there's like new opportunities or maybe I should cut a trade early, so I just adjust accordingly twice a day. And sometimes there's only one session that I get a chance to look at the charts because I'm so busy with the kids or with work or with other things like family needs and friends, So the swing approach does offer me a little more flexibility, and I would recommend it to anybody who's got a similar busy schedule and looking to get into trading. Trading on the lower time frames, there are a lot of day-to-day opportunities, but typically there's a small window of getting the best setup for the opportunity of that day. So, you can trade both. It doesn't really matter. You got to try both to see what suits you best. For me, I like having a big watch list and I'm able to hold trades for like multiple days. It just suits me better. Some people can't hold trades for a whole day, and I get that. So, you got to try out both and see what works for you. I just try and work my schedule around trading, and I don't try and fight against the things that I'm not so great at. You know what I mean? It's a good question though. I like that one. So question number 3, how do you deal with self-doubt? I feel like any entrepreneur is going to have moments of self-doubt. It's inevitable. Trying to get something going for yourself is always a challenge. And I think if your goals don't scare you, they're probably not big enough, if I'm being honest. So you understand that if you're trying to be successful in any entrepreneurial journey, whether that's trading, whether that's, working for yourself, opening your own haircutting business, you have to understand that what you're doing now is only benefiting your future. The things that you're starting, that you have self-doubt about, no matter what, even if you spend 30 minutes at it each day, it's better than doing nothing, and it's going to benefit your future a tremendous amount. So keep that in the back of your head, that you might face judgment from others, you might lose friends along the way. This is just part of growth and changing as a person, and in the long run you're only benefiting yourself for the better. So think about it as getting 1% better each day. You got to take small steps forward no matter what you're doing, and it's normal to have self-doubt, but to overcome it, just focus on the end goal and the bigger picture, right? When it comes to trading and dealing with self-doubt, on the charts, I try to not watch price develop. So a lot of people, they have no problem analyzing charts and, framing a setup for what's going to happen. But the trouble comes once they enter the trade. That's when their psychology kind of goes to shit. Understanding that every single strategy you learn is gonna incur losses along the way should bring you comfort when those losses come, right? And you don't know if you're gonna go on a 4-trade winning streak or a 4-trade losing streak. And these things happen, right? Your winners are gonna outweigh your losses over time, given you're catching at least like 1 to 2, 1 to 3 risk to reward. So, your losses, they shouldn't even bother you. And I strongly believe that there's such thing as good losses, right? So to me, a good loss is a loss that fit my plan perfectly and the trade setup looked immaculate. Like I'm talking, you're trading with the momentum of the higher time frames and everything lines up, right? You're trading with the momentum. To me, those trade setups that look A+ and they look like they're gonna play out but don't are good losses because they fit every single criteria that I need before I enter the trade and risk capital, right? So trades that fit my entry criteria, those are good losses, even if they don't work out. again, hitting on self-doubt, you guys have to stop comparing yourself to others. Your day 2 may not be the same as someone's day 500, right? You can't get caught up scrolling through Instagram, constantly comparing yourself to the other traders out there, flexing their profits, flexing their Rolexes, flexing their cars, right? Figure out your why and stick to it. Don't focus on what other people are doing, okay? You gotta cultivate like a social media feed to be constructive and beneficial to your goals. So for me, I don't follow anyone on my trading account that I don't gain any constructive feedback from. So I follow pages that only post like motivational stuff. You guys see my feed all the time. I only repost motivational stuff, you know, things related to trading, anything related to business. I don't follow people that just flex all the time. I follow like the most humble, down-to-earth people. I try and network with them as much as I can. I don't have an ego. I put my ego aside. This is the best way you can deal with self-doubt, is to cultivate, you know, your social media to be constructive and beneficial to your goals. I don't really consume that much content online. I try to, you know, post my stuff and stick to things that are related to my niche, okay? This is huge and it'll help you a lot with self-doubt when it comes to, you know, consumption of social media, okay? So question number 4, what's my end goal with trading? So my original passion is barbering, number 1. That's the one thing that, you know, I found a love for a long time ago. And I can say, like, you know, the job gets a little redundant and repetitive over time, but I'll never stop cutting hair. Barbering is like my number 1 passion. And I think my end goal through trading is to get enough money on the side for me to open my own barbershop. The goal is for me to open something higher end in my city and pay my barbers more than any other shop in the city. There's a big turnover rate with people that do hair. You know, most of the time they make commission or they pay rent on the chair. And, you know, my goal is to cultivate a team that's gonna last. And I don't really want to make a lot of profit on that barbershop. I'll have trading on the side and my own brand on the side, my education on the side. I'll have other sources of income. I won't have to worry about making money off that shop. Most of the shops I work for, the owners are for profit and they try to pay their barbers very bare minimum. I know what it's like to work for people that are, you know, money hungry and they don't really care about the team aspect. So yeah, my goal would be to like take the profits that I make from my trading, open a higher end barbershop, and then like cultivate a team that, like, you know, just lasts long and pay them enough to like break even on the expenses of the place. Besides the barbershop, I also, you know, want to work towards growing my own trading brand as well. I want to help a lot of people achieve profitability, because I know how hard it is to get there. There's so much information out there. It's so hard to filter through. I've been through that phase where, you know, you're going through the free content. I've been through the phase where you're buying a bunch of courses. So my goal with my brand is honestly to just bring everything that I know and I've learned and pack it into one, you know, concise thing that I can provide for everybody. I'm excited to meet all kinds of new people. I'm already meeting a ton of people, talking to a ton of people, and it feels fulfilling to provide as much knowledge as I can to you guys and, you know, see you guys grow as well. So question number 5, what do you like to trade the most? So I trade a bunch of different markets. I would say that for Forex, my favorite pair to trade is Australian dollar against New Zealand dollar. My buddy LP, Trading LP, had like a couple words to say about that one. He was like, what the heck? That's the weirdest pair to like. You know, because I swing trade, I find myself not really worrying about spreads too much, and that is a pair that has pretty big spreads. So I understand where a lot of people's confusion comes from. But, you know, with the strategy that I teach with supply and demand and implementing a lot of smart money concepts, I find Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar moves super clean and it respects all the principles that are taught. For me personally, I've traded absolutely every single thing you could think of, and I found the most consistency, and I found that pair works the best towards, you know, the system that I trade. Outside of Forex, like commodities, I love trading gold. I would say gold's one of those things that you either hate it or you love it. Gold moves very, very, very fast in one direction. It's a good pair to use stop orders for sure. I know a lot of guys like Aaron, shout out to Aaron in Sydney or Melbourne. He's in Australia. Cool dude. He loves to scalp gold on the 5-minute. I've noticed like using a lot of stop orders, gold is fun to trade as well. And I would say my third favorite outside of, you know, FX, outside of gold would be Bitcoin. Not a lot of people trade Bitcoin that are in the FX community, but I found a sweet spot for Bitcoin, especially when I feel the itch to, you know, do some scalping outside of the FX hours. It's fun sometimes to get in some Bitcoin trades on the weekend. I don't really swing Bitcoin too much, but I do get in on the lower time frames sometimes to scalp it. But yeah, those would be my top 3 right there. The final one, the final question number 6. Is there a course that you took that stood out the most? That's a very good question. So within my own brand and my own course, I do cover all the courses that I've taken, and I do a little summary of each one. Of course, that's my course material. I'm not going to put that out there, but I will say that the course I took that stood out the most would be from MentFX. MentFX, he's another trader. I think he's in Canada as well. He is very thorough in his explanations of why things happen in the market, how things happen in the market. He helped me solidify my knowledge of supply and demand in the ways that price moves from like a top-down perspective. I'd say he like really helped me create a framework of how price moves from the monthly to the daily to the 4-hour to the 1-hour to the 5-minute, like a whole top-down perspective. He really helped me like understand that markets move fractally, and that, like, you know, within one candle on a big time frame, there's a million little candles on littler time frames, and each one has a story to tell. So, you know, all courses that I've paid out of pocket for, I've taken all the important parts and I just summarize them in my own way for you guys, but I wouldn't want to waste any information I've collected this far, right? So number 1, I would say MentFX's course was definitely worth it for me. You know, on a side note, I have to shout out ICT because he helped me understand that there's a way to view how price moves algorithmically and the importance of considering time as trades develop, right? Those two definitely hand in hand, they're the best ones that I've covered. But the one that I paid for that I highly recommend, number 1, would be MentFX for sure. Come to the end of this Q&A. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you made it to the end of this video, hopefully you gained a little bit of knowledge from the questions that I've answered today. If any of you are looking for some free resources, I do have a free ebook. It's just a PDF. It's available to the public. You hit my link tree and you can download it. No charge. You just enter your email address and then you get it right away. I also have a free Telegram community where we network, we share ideas. I do not offer my signals there anymore. I was for a little while to build it up. Hopefully some of you took advantage of that. Feel free to join if any of you are looking for a community or you want to chat with me personally. I have no problem replying to you guys there. We do offer trade signals in the CPA Trade Signal Telegram as well. That is a monthly membership that each of you could take advantage of if you don't really care to learn how to trade and you just want to copy what we do week by week. As well, we do have a paid membership that's a one-time fee, lifetime access. That'll give you access to me and my group of guys, my team. We can help you out one-on-one with mentoring or any questions that you may have. There is a 25 video course that's in there as well. It's very extensive. Like I said, it covers every course I took and summarized the key points and put them all together. In the Discord, we do offer weekly webinars as well. We do outlooks on what we're expecting to see from the markets and Forex mostly, as well as some commodities, some indices as well. If you're looking to brush up your knowledge on smart money concepts, supply and demand, and learn a little bit about algorithmic theory, definitely give the Discord a look if that's something you're interested in. Thanks for watching till the end, guys. Happy trading.